California Governor Gavin Newsom says he will use the Texas abortion law as a model for California residents to go after people with assault weapons and ghost guns. Newsom made the threat over the weekend on Twitter. The move to put enforcement power into the hands of citizens is a portion of the Texas law the Supreme Court is still deliberating on, but has allowed to remain in effect. Here to talk about this is Ed Espinoza, president of Progress Texas, and former Texas GOP chairman James Dickey. Ed, Newsom is upset with the Supreme Court. Will his threat to empower citizens like in Texas did against abortion enforcement, is that going to get the attention of the Supreme Court justices?
I think it will. I think it already has, actually. And let's make something clear. This is an issue that is not about guns. This is an issue about the basis of the law that was written into the Texas abortion law. Can citizens enforce a law that a government cannot? And what California is trying to do here, now, by the way, I'm not a lawyer, but my interpretation of this is what California is trying to do here is establish the precedent. If the Supreme Court rules in favor of the Texas abortion law, then that sets a precedent that supports the California gun law. But if they say that California can't do this on guns, then that undermines the Texas abortion law. So it really doesn't have to do about Texas or abortion. It has to do with precedent, and that's what we're seeing here. It really could be any issue.
James Dickey, again, Newsom says if states can shield their laws from federal courts, and California is going to do the same, how is what he's promising to do any different than from what Texas has done with SB 8?
Yeah, it's different in a couple of big things. First of all, he's talking about applying this. What the Supreme Court said was that absolutely, if the law requires state official enforcement, then those state officials could be enjoined from functioning in that way. And I don't know what kind of hoops he thinks he can jump through to make it so no California state official has anything to do with guns. But the reality is there are a bunch of California officials that have to do with licensing guns. So it makes it a lot harder for him to do this. This is just posturing for him to take away attention from the fact that he has a fundamentally failed state that is all his fault, whether it's homelessness or crime or their poverty or their failed economy and people fleeing the state. He's just trying to detract attention from that.
Ed Espinoza, do you see other Democratic-led states kind of following Newsom's threat and doing the same thing?
I do. I see lots of states because I know that there are lots of Republican-led states that have already said if this withstands Supreme Court scrutiny, they will pass this law. So why wouldn't other Democratic states also try to test this law on other issues? And it's really important here because one of the things that Chief Justice John Roberts said in his rulings, this came out on Friday, I'm reading this verbatim, he said that the clear purpose and actual effect of the Texas law was to nullify this court's rulings, which is a dangerous precedent and is not how this is supposed to work. So yes, I do see other states, red and blue states, following suit. I think it's very dangerous, and I think it's something the court needs to take very seriously.
James, was the Heartbeat Act written so it skirts federal judicial review?
Actually, the Heartbeat Act was written so that state officials were not enforcing it, and that state officials played no role in enforcing it. That absolutely appears to have been part of the intention. Now, the interesting thing is that what Newsom's actually doing is putting the Biden Justice Department between a rock and a hard place. Well, we're going to find very quickly if Newsom or any other state does this, rather than, like what Ed said, waiting to see how the courts come out, but trying to move ahead with it. The Justice Department filed suit against Texas on those exact same grounds. They better file suit against California too, or else they'll be shown to be the political partisan hacks that we all know them to be.
All righty. Well, it goes on, and we have to wrap it up for now. So, James, Ed, as always, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.